I'm about to go down the valley from base camp, and with the small satisfaction of knowing that so far I've got up to Camp 2, but then got pretty much ruined, or that's how I felt, by this filthy cold cough, or whatever you want to call it. And so I'm now on penicillin, and also the doc says that to go deep down the valley would be very beneficial to the recovery process. So I'm hoping that in the 3 or maybe 4 days deep down the valley, in a place called Orsha probably, I'll be able to speed up the recovery process and feel better, and then come back up here to base camp, and then depending on the political situation, when we're allowed to carry on up to the camp above Camp 2, which is Camp 3, and that's when you really feel you're beginning to get somewhere. When I got up to Camp 2, I felt absolutely fine. The process at Camp 2 is normally to stay there, to acclimatise to that new height which bodies aren't accustomed to, and to which a lot of bodies revolt terminally, even at just Camp 2, because it's not natural for humans to live at that height. So 2 days up there is considered, and by the altitude experts, to be the ideal time. So when I arrived there, I felt great. I sort of congratulated myself secretly on even getting to Camp 2. And then, without warning, this lurgy, if I can call it that, or virus or whatever, meant that I couldn't breathe, and breathing is important. And so I used oxygen, and the oxygen comes into your nose through a cannula, but my nose was blocked, so I couldn't do that either. So it was a sort of desperate personal situation, and I had a lot of blood out of the nose, mucus everywhere, and what in the UK one would call an extremely bad cough blocking up your head, your breathing passages, which doesn't help movement at altitude, and in a really bad way. So on coming back down here from Camp 2, it took 8 hours, which must be an all-time record for a geriatric getting down. You'd think would be easier. Back to base camp here, and I began to feel better in the base camp here, and I hope I feel a lot better back down in the valley. You know, physically I might be in a bad way, but mentally I definitely do want to do it. 5 years ago I failed, and it's extremely annoying, and we've got a lot of money which we must make for Marie Curie cancer care, and to sort of give in at this stage obviously would not be a good thing at all for our financial hopes. In the 48 hours since I got back down here, after the pretty horrific 8 hour journey to get here, sometimes feeling that I couldn't take a step further, and in the heat of the icefall, I heard cracking of ice and movement of ice. I couldn't care less. All I felt was the exhaustion, and to move a few feet. And once the coughing spasms came, I just had to wait a couple of minutes until my heartbeat got right down. But I've been here now 48 hours, and I think I certainly feel a lot better than I did on the descent. So the dropping of the altitude is definitely a good thing.